Welcome to another episode of the No Clue Podcast. This is episode 148. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Tyler.
I'm Mike.
And we're back. Conference finals, coaching hires,
yes,
trades. Where you want to get into first? The conference finals?
I mean, yeah, we could talk about conference finals first.
Oh, no. Well, we can get the coaches out of the way.
It's interesting because, I'm trying to look back. I don't remember during a playoff run this much NBA turnover.
Yeah, I think that because of the shortened season,
right?
And this is way further past normal seasons too.
Yeah.
Usually the finals were in April.
That's true. Yeah, it's just weird because the off season is going to be quiet. Quiet, significantly more quiet, but
yeah. Well, let's get through the coaching and the trade first now, and finish out with the games.
Which team do you want to start with?
Let's start with the Celtics because I don't have that much to say. Udoka is a Popovich, product. I don't know how many years he was on the Spurs bench, but it has been a while now. He was kind of an outside shot, I think.
It's last year I kind of hyped up some of the good culture guys coming in.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. Indiana didn't work out at all.
Right.
The Rockets didn't work out, not necessarily because of the coach, but nonetheless, he didn't do anything to make it better.
Right.
So, in theory, I like the hire. Because the culture that's coming in, the system that he's been kind of involved in.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I imagined the perfect way that the Celtics could play. But again, it doesn't translate well every time.
Right. He was a Spur for 1 year, and then he went right to, as a player, then he went right to coaching for 7 years on the Spurs bench. He did 1 year with Brett Brown in Philly and 1 year now with Brooklyn. So, and now he
put the time in. So, again, I can't really, there's nothing really to criticize here because in theory, it's a good hire.
Yep. He also played 6 years in the league. So, he has some playing experience. He played all over the world, it looks like.
Yeah, he was. I remember him just popping up on a lot of different rosters. Him kind of just being in discussions a lot of time in the off season and stuff like that.
Yep.
The key is they made a move as well, though.
Yes, Kemba Walker was traded for Al Horford, basically.
I gotta say, I love it. Staying on the Celtics.
You love what? Al Horford being on the Celtics?
The whole move.
Okay.
Kemba clearly, and we could get into Kemba a little more after Boston, but he was kind of the odd man out as far as, guys who can maximize their game, because Brown can do it, Tatum can do it, even Smart gets to do it.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot. His game comes down to whether he's making shots or not.
Right. He doesn't really affect anything else on the floor.
Yeah, and him being injury prone the way he has been since getting there.
Yep.
And again, you kind of trying to fit everybody together. Clearly your play style's kind of not worked lately.
Right.
So I completely understand the move, especially considering who you're getting, a guy who's built for everybody to touch the ball. So what do you think?
I'm cool with it, but it's what they're getting back that bothers me more than them trading Kemba. Trading Kemba, I completely understand. Like you said, the injuries, the play style, it wasn't that great of a fit, at least how it was currently being coached, at least. I think I would have liked to see what a different coach would have done with Kemba as far as the play style goes.
Yeah.
But how it was going at this point, it wasn't working. The team was kind of moving towards a defensive minded lineup at times, and Kemba doesn't fit into that. Um, yeah, and they have a lot of scoring options, and that's Kemba's best quality. I think he was a really good leader, but
watching him lately in Boston the last couple of years, it's like he doesn't get to really like maximize his game.
I agree. Yeah.
I feel like you could play through him more, and it's okay for him to shoot poorly. You could still play through him.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they just never really did.
Right. Yeah. And he did 2 years there now. I mean, this was his second year.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And that's pretty quick to move on. But, he's aging. The team is not. The team's kind of in a place where they can win.
Yeah, I saw the report of them being concerned with his knee, his left knee, I believe.
Yeah.
And because it's been a problem since he got there.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand the skepticism kind of that goes along with that.
Yeah, I do too. Yep. I do like Moses Brown, though, that they got in this trade. But Al Horford, I don't know if they keep Al Horford at this point. I'm not sure. I didn't see OKC enough to know what Al Horford still brings on the court, if anything.
He doesn't bring anything to OKC, I can tell you that.
Right.
Because midway through the year, he was out the rotation.
Right. And he's the last from that Florida team still in the league. So he has to be just about on his way out too.
Yeah. I like it this time. Last time he was there, I hated it.
Okay.
But this time he's coming into a team that's like ascended as far as kind of how good the offense could be, how good they could be.
Yeah.
But we talked about it all year, a struggling front court.
Yep.
Robert Williams, I don't know if he could give me 82 games. Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
You looking at Tristan Thompson is, I would look to move him.
Yeah.
The only time I liked his presence was when he was on the bench more.
Mm-hmm.
Got rid of Tice. Bad idea, but okay. I get it. Fournier's should be a good pickup moving forward.
Yeah.
But you got to have guys who could come in and like just at least belong on the court.
Right.
And I think at worst, Horford could do that.
Okay. I'm not mad at that at all. Why do I feel like they were still missing somebody? When Smart comes off the bench, who starts for them? It was Kemba, Tatum, Brown.
Fournier started also.
No, before Fournier.
Oh,
Kemba, Tatum, Brown, Tice, and
and Thompson for a lot of time.
Tice and Thompson?
Yes.
Oh yeah. They can't do the too big on that roster anymore.
No, they cannot.
That has to stop.
Brown is built like we talk about small ball kind of not looking great with teams like Utah and the Clippers. Sometimes it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Brown is built for it.
The thing is, what's nice is Tatum and Brown are both so inside out. Like, I think Tatum needs to be on the block sometimes and post up because that's where he exploits his best mismatches.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if they move towards that at all, but
I just think defensively, it could be such a killer lineup to have Brown at the 4.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of things they could do there.
I do think that they will have a really hard time finding the right point guard for this team.
Yes.
It's not Smart.
No.
But I think that will be a difficulty even in the rest of this offseason. I think Conley would be a nice one for them because he doesn't need the ball for anything. He just kind of, he comes in, passes, and he kind of gets out the way a lot of times. Like someone like him, but Where do they get that?
I wonder what they do, because I think there's a number of backups they could get where they could survive with Smart as the point guard.
Give me an example of who.
I think DJ Augustine could fit.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about it. You're right on Smart, because they're gonna look like the best team in the East one week, and then another week they're gonna look like a disaster.
Right, and the thing is, I think that, and this is my opinion, and I've talked about this all year. One of their biggest problems was guys have to play one-on-one the whole game, everybody, and Smart doesn't fix that at all.
No, he doesn't.
I think they need someone who can create a open shot for someone else on the floor, and that's not really Smart's game. Yeah. And Kemba, it's not really Kemba's game either, but he was good at it at times, right? He can do it in spurts, and the team looks flawless at times, but I don't see Smart doing that at all.
I just think, a lot of people are talking about where Lowry could go. I think Boston would be a perfect fit for him.
It would be.
I mean, yeah. he's a perfect fit almost everywhere that doesn't have a point guard.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, there's a lot of places.
Yeah.
But Boston, he would fix kind of that scoring punch that they're lacking with Kemba gone.
Yeah.
I think Lowry and Smart together could just be just wild.
Best defensive backcourt in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And I said that to you as soon as this trade happened. I think Kemba has a real good shot at going to LA, to the Lakers. And I think Lowry will be who Boston pursues. But I'm not sure if that's what Lowry wants, or if they can afford him. If Lowry wants another ring and is willing to take a pay cut, then yeah, Boston's the spot for sure. Not far from Philly. He's from Philly. So, yeah.
Yeah, but the Philly fit, considering how he's from there, just seems like a done deal.
Yeah, but they got to give a lot. I mean, obviously, it would be Lowry for Ben Simmons, right?
Yeah, right. But to me, Philly has flexibility, because I think they can move a lot of pieces and still kind of keep how they play.
But their pieces won't add up to anything for a lot of teams. If you give me Shake Milton and Mike Scott and Dwight, I don't have anything still.
I don't know about nothing.
Not that they're not good players, but I'm not taking that for Lowry and a couple picks. It's not worth it. I mean, the Raptors might. I'm not. I wouldn't though.
I see that. I can see the Raptors taking something like that.
If I'm losing my generational player, I need a generational player back. Like, I need someone who's going to be my next generation, and that would definitely be Ben. Ben is gone though. We talked about that enough last episode. There's no way Ben finishes next season as a 76er. I don't believe
I would be shocked if he even has to play up until the trade deadline or anything like that.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if he touches the court in a Sixers uniform ever again.
Right.
Again, I made my thoughts clear. I don't even want to think about it right now, because I want to wait till we have a better idea of maybe where he really could go.
Yeah.
But clearly it's going to be somewhere else.
So the problem is now with the Celtics, we have no idea what Udoka brings to the team. He didn't play good as a player or enough for us to say, yeah, he has this kind of mindset as an athlete, so he's going to bring this to the Celtics. So we don't know what's going to happen there. That's one we'll definitely just have to see.
Yeah, so. One thing I will kind of give him is he's coming into a situation that's not broken.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming into a team that's close, and having been around San Antonio, sometimes it's small things that could make a team go off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Boston is in that position. And I think he has a good chance to figure that out.
Yep. And another thing is, it's a lot less pressure than some of the other teams we'll talk about, because they are really young to the point where they can botch a year. Like if next year they suck, like eighth seed again, or playing game,
Yeah.
that's cool, because they're coming back the next year for sure. At least your nucleus is, and you have another shot to build with this team.
Yeah.
And then you got young minds. They haven't played for a coach that long. What, 3 years with Brad Stevens?
Yeah.
For Tatum, 4 for Brown. You know, it's not
And
too long.
Stevens has established a good culture, and he didn't go anywhere, so the culture stays intact.
Yeah.
So again, that's another thing the new coach doesn't have to worry about as much.
He can just tweak from a coach that just couldn't get it all the way done. So it's not too bad.
Right.
All right, moving on. Let's go Pacers. Rick Carlisle to the Pacers. He's coached there before.
Yeah, way before my time.
Right.
I mean, it's
an odd one.
It's a great call though.
Yeah, he obviously wanted to get back to Indiana. I mean, all these open jobs, he picked that one out of the,
and like super quick too.
Right.
A week later, he's got Indiana locked up.
Yep. So
I think a coach like him, I think he welcomes the Indiana situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because this team has shown that they're capable.
Yeah.
This was a slightly different team that was a top 4 or 5 seed in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't changed much. I think they've gotten better roster wise.
Yeah, they have.
So it all comes down. I think if anybody of all the coaches I could think of that are looking for jobs, I can't think of many better than Carlisle at putting teams together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think this team has a lot of these like borderline vet guys on the team. And that's when I've seen Carlisle do his most magic.
Yes.
Yeah, when he has these guys who are experienced players who have good IQ. He got TJ Warren, Sabonis, obviously has pedigree. He got TJ McConnell. These guys who have just top-notch IQ, basketball IQ. That's McDermott has pedigree. His dad's been coaching forever. I'm trying to think who else is on there. Miles Turner has pretty good IQ for the most part, for someone like his style. He has a lot of smart players to work with. I think he's going to do a good job there. I don't know.
Completely disagree on Miles Turner, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what their ceiling is though.
But that's what I like about it.
Okay.
It's because I think the ceiling is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's about kind of like he needs to be able to help some of these players settle into roles. Yeah. I think over this past season, like their play style just got out of control.
It did.
It's almost like, looking back on them to end the year, it's like they had a team full of guys playing for stats.
I agree. Yeah. Including Miles for sure.
Yeah. Nobody's defending, but everybody is getting like what they're known to do.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it, shooters were chucking all year.
Yeah.
Miles Turner was getting blocks all year.
Mm-hmm.
Brogdon's stats look great all year.
Yep.
Sabonis stats look great all year.
Yeah.
And then routinely we're watching them get destroyed.
And watching teams put up 130 points on them a night.
Right. I mean, they gave up 140, 150 several times.
Yeah.
So I think Carlisle comes in. He's a voice that the guys have to respect.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlisle can also make difficult decisions like, who needs to take less shots, who needs to adjust the kinds of shots they take.
Right.
Who do we need to encourage with the IQ? Who do we need to, reel in and maybe get under control a little bit?
Yeah.
I think Carlisle's a perfect fit for all that.
I agree. I agree. So that'll be fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. His old team, the Mavericks. They just hired Jason Kidd. Do you like that hire?
Before we get into Jason Kidd, this whole Mavericks like situation
Yeah.
was completely out of left field.
Yep.
I was shocked. I don't know if it's even like an overreaction to them blowing the first round, which didn't really surprise me.
Me either.
Even like, and I was hyped about them early in the series, but watching game 6 and 7, the way they lost, I'm like, this is how I expect this team to lose.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's all these rumors, like, a week later, all these rumors about the one guy that got fired, the stat guy, the analytics guy.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Luka's not happy. The general manager's gone.
Don Nelson Jr.
Yeah. And then Carlisle just is out of there.
Yeah.
And it's just like a weird situation because clearly Carlisle didn't just not want to coach.
Right.
He wanted to coach somewhere else.
Right.
So to me, like, I wonder if there's something wrong with Dallas more than we know.
We can speculate, and I'll speculate. I think, and this is not hate, but I think Luka is a very spoiled player for Dallas. I think he kind of, at least in the last 2 years, has gotten to the point where it's like, he just does whatever he wants in the offense. I mean, we talked about this too. In their offense, it looks like it's just Luka does this. Like, there's no set to, like, no options on their plays or anything. It's just Luka. He's here. Oh, if he wants to shoot, he just shoots it. If he feels like driving and kicking, he does that. He may not. It just looked like it was Luka playing out there by himself, like he's the best guy on the pickup court.
Yeah.
So, and Carlisle has had issues with, specifically guards his whole career. He's been fighting with point guards every year. Monte, Rondo. I mean, him and Kidd never got into it, but Devin Harris had some issues. He got traded, came back, got traded, came back. Obviously him and JJ Barea are cool too, I guess. But he has this thing where he's combative if you don't like what he's calling. We've seen, what did Rondo do that time? Didn't Rondo just like walk off the court one time?
Yeah, he just basically quit.
Right. And I've never seen Rondo fight with another coach. Usually coaches trust Rondo's judgment and not force him to trust their judgment, Right. So I could see if that happened to this golden boy Luka, I could see it being a big deal in the office, Rondo is pretty expendable. Monte is expendable, but not Luka.
The problem is, like, we just saw this kind of play out in Denver. Like, this is kind of a similar situation to how Jokic started in Denver. Because he got great, but they didn't really know how to win because Jokic is best point guard in the league for 10 minutes, best big man in the league for a couple minutes. And then there's 10 minutes. We don't know what the hell is going on.
Right.
All the while, the other team is getting layups and dunks because he doesn't have the energy to protect the rim.
Right. He's the best ball distributor in the league for 5 minutes, and then no one touches the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
5 plays. Yeah,
exactly. But and he still has some of that now.
He does.
But Denver has, like, there's been a great balance of him improving in certain ways and Denver kind of making it work around some of those things. Dallas is at a very critical point where it's either like we have to figure out how to coexist together, or do we just ride Luka's greatness as far as we can?
Well, then that difference comes between Jokic and Luka. So does Luka have the same unselfishness that Jokic can, show? Because Jokic has changed a little bit in how he looks for guys. Because I mean, we've talked throughout the course of us talking about Denver, we've noticed how he trusts a lot of his players a lot more than he ever did.
Yeah, you saw it this playoff run. He allowed like some of the lesser role players to thrive, especially when they got going.
Yeah, yep.
Like that's not something he could do 2 years ago.
It's not something he could do last playoffs. I mean, he couldn't give Michael Porter Jr. the ball after Porter Jr. has like 28 in three quarters. He wouldn't give him the ball. And now you see he trusts them a lot more. He trusts the new guys that they get. He even trusts Campazzo. Guys like that.
Rivers came in, Gordon came in, and were trusted immediately.
Right. So we've seen his, maturation within the team, and I haven't seen any of Luka's maturation so far.
I'm with you.
A lot less of a time, so it becomes on the player, and if it's player or coach, and I'm sure with Carlisle, all it took was the front office to say, "Oh, well, if that's what Luka wants, you got to go figure that out." I can see him just saying, "Oh, well, you guys can figure it out with a different coach."
And that's kind of why Indiana, I don't know his personal, like you said, he coached there before, so it could have just been he wanted to coach there again.
Right.
I'm not sure if he's from there or if his family's there, but like basketball situation wise, it looks like he wanted to go to a situation where he controls how the team operates.
Right.
And I completely with you that Luka, we don't know if he's going to mature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to assume that he's not because we really don't know yet.
Yeah.
But my key is whether Luka matures or not, like, does Dallas handle this next year or two correctly?
Right.
And first decision was made with the new coaching hire. What did you think?
I like it and I don't like it. I like it, and I like it more than I dislike it. I'll say that. I think Jason Kidd is a really good motivator. He's obviously one of the best point guards ever, one of the best leaders, floor generals ever. But I don't think Jason Kidd has had. I think I would have liked him to have more experience before this head coaching job, more head coaching experience at least. Yeah. I mean, because he did like 2 1-year stints.
Yeah, 1 year in Brooklyn, then he dipped,
and then 2.5 years in Milwaukee. So it's tough there as far as him coming to the Mavericks with that. But I do think he's, if we were to measure basketball IQ in NBA history, I mean, he'd be top 5 in my mind.
Yeah, I got, as far as like his player credentials, he's top tier.
But that doesn't mean you can teach it. It doesn't mean you can coach it. We've seen Isaiah Thomas be a terrible coach, absolutely garbage. And I mean, Isaiah Thomas is top 5 point guards in everybody on the planet's list.
Yep.
So I mean, obviously they're not the same guy. I'm not saying that they're the same, but I'm just saying, so for people who don't know Jason Kidd as a coach, don't think because he was a good player, he's going to automatically be a good coach. But I mean, who's like the best player that coaches now?
Yeah.
That's Nate why, McMillan.
Man, yeah, he's doing great, but
yeah,
I'm pretty negative about it, and I don't really want to be, because I do see some of the things you're saying. He is a good motivator. Obviously, the playing experience is there, but I'm going based off what I've seen from him. And that Milwaukee 2.5 years, Budenholzer comes in and he tweaks every issue that kid had.
Yeah.
Now they still have, problems that they're just now figuring out.
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't know if they figured it out, but I just like the expectations that the kind of the narrative around Kidd as a coach, he hasn't really lived up to that.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in, I haven't seen him find a guy to like make a key IQ guy.
Right.
For a guy, like you said, one of the greatest point guards of all time, I haven't seen that knowledge transfer as a coach.
Right.
Because guys who were low IQ players under him never really improved.
Right.
So I'm not really sure. Like, does he have the desired effect here? Because clearly you brought him in to maximize what Luka Doncic could do.
Yeah, assuming so. Yeah.
Right. But like everything else about Kidd is a question mark because he, like you said, is limited experience.
Right.
All I could think of, which would kind of lean towards hiring him, is can he get more out of Luka than we already got?
Right. And that relies on a lot of different factors, right? Obviously.
And it's just like honestly, if that was the route they went, D'Antoni was the obvious candidate, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, this team, Carlisle made this team like a junior version of D'Antoni.
Yep.
Honestly, he comes in, defense slips a little more. It's already pretty bad. So maybe that's a risky play.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't really see Kidd making the defense better.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. That's the problem. We don't know.
I don't know, man. Kidd, like the response I expect teams to have to such a top tier point guard, I haven't seen yet. So that's why I'm skeptical.
Right, exactly.
But Milwaukee,
I completely agree.
I hate that Milwaukee's the only, like, I don't want to hold his first year against him because like anything could happen first year. It was a weird team to come into, hella injuries.
And they had all just been thrown together out of nowhere.
Yeah. So complete like mix, like a mess.
Yeah.
But Milwaukee like was just a steady, what they were is kind of what they were.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting better because of the talent they were starting to get.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see like the team success that I want to see out of a good coach team.
The thing with Milwaukee, for me, I enjoy what he did with Milwaukee because I think that they became a lot more exciting to watch under him. And I'm not saying that translates to wins. Obviously, it doesn't. But they found a way to. They got a lot more like fast breaks. They got a lot more dunks. They did a lot more lobs. They got a lot more steals. But that's really it. And there's some teams that I think that's all they need. Like I think the Jazz, that's all the Jazz need to me to be better because the Jazz get like no fast breaks. When's the last time you've seen Donovan Mitchell dunk on a wide open fast break?
Regular season.
And not much.
No.
So there's teams that I think that need that, and the Mavericks are not one of those teams. And I'm not sure if that's all that Kidd brings to the table. But that's all I saw him do. Like you said, we have a small sample size. That's all I saw him do in Milwaukee.
Yes. And that's what makes it weird is that every year he seems to be like a premier candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a premier candidate for the Lakers when they became, a potential dynasty.
But the thing is, I think he is a good candidate for a team that has older guys, right? Guys who have watched him play, who can automatically respect his IQ, guys who may have even played against him, right? Like LeBron played against him at some point, right. in the Dallas and Heat series.
LeBron's worst nightmare.
Right. So I mean, those kind of teams, I could see Kidd being like a good candidate for those because they say, oh yeah, we definitely know Jason. They probably are cool with him already. I think he probably has seen them on like a different scale, like as a player or as a like watching them like the Lakers. But as far as Dallas, it's just a weird spot because they're really.
It is. It's unpredictable.
They're really in a developmental time.
Yeah,
Dallas is. They're really like a bunch of D League guys that have like a star.
Yeah,
two young stars,
and that's a tough situation for an inexperienced coach to come in.
Absolutely.
One, I guess, kind of last point we can make. I do like that Cuban hires coaches, and he doesn't usually do the 1 year or not a long time. Like he gives coaches a solid chance to show what they could do.
Yeah.
And if he's giving kid that chance, I like this team for that.
I agree.
Because kid like this is a good team for him to really max out and show what he could do.
Right.
So in that way, I'm excited for it,
but
I'm skeptical just from the prior things that I've seen.
Right. I gotcha. I completely agree. I'm on the same page. Definitely on the same page. All right. Last one. Chauncey Billups to the Blazers. Oh man. I don't know what the Blazers front office is doing. You had D'Antoni, you had Becky Hammond, and you had Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups has been doing play-by-play for the last 6 years.
Then this past year he was an assistant.
Yeah, just this year.
Just this year.
Yeah.
And I guess the playoff run makes him look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
The playoff run that he played in?
They're currently going through right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I see the guys that I've had no respect for are in the playoffs now, and they're playing like a specific way. The fact that it took, it seems like it took Chauncey Billups to make that happen, and Ty Lue couldn't do that. Because Ty Lue was there he was there last year, though.
This is the first time he can make decisions.
But Chauncey Billups is an assistant. So if I'm giving him credit now, I got to look at what Ty Lue was doing last year.
But Ty Lue wasn't the head coach.
But Chauncey Billups was the assistant this year is what I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying, well, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm just making the point that, the Clippers playing a little bit smarter this playoff run and going down for the third series in a row and finding a way to improve on what they're struggling with.
Yeah.
I didn't see that with Ty Lue part of the coaching staff.
Oh, I gotcha. With just him as on the staff, right?
Right.
But I'm just saying last year Ty Lue didn't make the decisions.
I know.
That's all I mean. Even Doc even acknowledged that.
Yeah.
Ty was there, but it was still up to Doc what happened.
But as far as just, again, that's really the only positive I could think of for Chauncey. I mean, the coaching experience isn't there. I don't even know the direction, honestly.
I don't either. I think, he's a good dude. He's another one of those guys, super high basketball IQ, because let's be honest, Chauncey wasn't that good of a player. I mean, he was an all-star, but he wasn't like he may be a Hall of Famer because of his accolades, but there's hundreds of, 20 Hall of Fame point guards better than Chauncey. He's not anyone's top 25 point guards ever. That's all.
I'm trying to compare because Chauncey is like a lost breed of guards, kind of. Super high IQ, his game got better the bigger the game got.
He's a little bit like Lowry.
Lowry's a good example. I could see that. But you're right. He wasn't as good as kind of some people make him seem.
Yeah, they make it seem like, oh, Chauncey's a legend. His career stats is 15 points a game, 5 assists.
Yeah.
So it's not like he didn't even average over 5 assists, dude. Like,
he wasn't really like a point guard. He just played it.
Right. So
he was a good shot like taker. Like he knew what kinds of shots he could get hot off of. He had a good feel for his own skill set, and that made him look like he looked like a vet as soon as he got to Detroit.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And some of that has to do with his career and struggling early on.
Yeah, because he got traded.
He sucked
5 times.
He sucked for a good amount. Nowadays, he'd be out of the league before he'd figure it out.
Yeah. Chauncey definitely would have been out of the league.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, but to focus on Portland.
Yeah.
The same problem I had with Jason Kidd is the same problem I have here to start with. This looks like a move to please your star player.
Okay.
His first choice, and I suspect his first choice backed out because of the uncomfortable situation he kind of made.
Right. And that was Kidd, right?
Yeah. By Damian Lillard coming out a week later talking about Kidd's the guy. You put pressure on the organization to make that happen.
I don't think that's why Kidd backed out, though. But
okay, that's fair.
I get why you say that. Yeah,
that's fair. Even if it's not, that that doesn't really change my point. Is
no, you're right.
You hired like a guard that the Damian Lillard will respect.
Right.
I feel like you could have went a lot of ways to get more coaching experience on top of that.
Right.
Again, I just Portland is in such a spot where they need a drastic change.
Yeah.
This
isn't it.
I don't see Billups making that.
No.
And the problem is because Portland, you keep Portland exactly the way they are, and if they're healthy all year, they'll get you a 4th seed.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
Right.
But the problems won't change.
Right. I mean, Terry Stotts had him in the playoffs every single year.
Every year. And how many people when Lillard had those like random 2 months where he looked like unstoppable, how many people were sitting there like, man, Portland might challenge the Lakers.
Yeah. And then
whoever is on top of the West, Portland might get them.
And then once Dame got exhausted, he had no help anymore. By the time they got to the playoffs.
All year for the 3rd, 4th year in a row, I'm hearing how good Portland is. And then we get into the playoffs and everybody's like pissed off that they look so awful.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it makes me even more upset because we've seen it already.
Yeah, and the thing is, we noticed that Damian is the only one who's like capable of elevating his game like on command.
Yes.
Like everyone else, like McCollum randomly will have 40 in a regular season game. Nurkic will randomly have like a near triple double, 15, 18, and 8 or something like that out of nowhere.
Melo will look vintage.
Melo randomly get 28 off the bench. And then when it comes to the playoffs, Dame is the only one out here getting 55, and no one else is involved. No one else is hitting shots. No one else has elevated their game on either end of the floor.
And what bothers me more than anything is like, I understand that with some of the like ball hog play style guys. Durant, I see it all the time. I get it.
Yeah.
Tatum, even like when Jimmy Butler is looking to score more, you see it in Miami.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard will be passing the ball to these guys.
Yeah.
Like for minutes straight, and they're not in the game.
He had 50. Didn't he have 55 and like 11 assists?
11 assists. And I didn't feel a soul. I didn't feel a soul out of the Damian Lillard on the court.
Yeah.
And I don't see that. And even with like Durant, you feel somebody else on the court with him.
Yeah.
And Durant is a black hole a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So Portland, clearly there's something more than like maybe Lillard isn't, helping guys or playing through certain guys.
No, that's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah, the play style has been the problem. And I don't mind this team coming out and struggling next year if they're completely changing how they attack.
Right.
But that's what I don't know if Billups will be ready for that. Like if they're losing the first month of the season, kind of like Dallas was, for example, people are gonna be like, yeah, this is a bad look.
Yeah.
I don't know if Billups is willing to take that heat.
Right.
Especially when the easier option is to just play through McCollum less.
Now, this is the one that to me was like, they interviewed D'Antoni twice, interviewed Becky Hammon twice, and interviewed Chauncey twice. And I just don't know how you come to the conclusion of Chauncey. That's why I believe what you said. This has to be them trying to make Damian happy if that's what Damian wanted. But in my opinion, Portland is in a complete win now situation. Like they have to win
absolutely
next 2 years. If they don't win, like this, they wasted years.
They wasted a all-time great point guard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who stayed,
who gave it all to the franchise. And at any moment, if he said, hey, I'm demanding a trade, every single team in the league will be on the phone.
Oh, everyone.
Everybody. So I understand you trying to keep him happy, but you have to get to the point where it's like, yo, I know you want to be happy, but look, we have to win right this second. Because, I mean, he's only getting older.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting younger. So I thought, to me, this team, D'Antoni was like the obvious choice, in my opinion, for this team. I agree with you about the Mavericks. D'Antoni would have made the Mavericks perfect because you look at what he had in Houston with Harden, it's the same thing.
He's done it everywhere. He's done it every time, everywhere he goes.
Yeah, you have Porzingis. He can catch alley-oops. He can shoot threes. He's your Amari. He's your, even better than Capella.
Yes.
But he blocks shots. Then you have your guard who can get triple doubles every single night. You got your Nash, your Harden. He's right there. I understand that. But you have Portland. You have all these guys who can hit threes. You have a good passing big man. You have an all-time great point guard. And no, for some reason, the guys don't get good shots. They don't make shots. That's where I thought D'Antoni would come in this year and then boom, like they have all the talent to hit the most threes in the league. You have Powell, you have Covington, you have Carmelo and Dame. There's no reason they're not top 3 in threes every year in the league.
And now that I'm thinking about it, a good way to put it would be D'Antoni makes like the way that his teams play look like a play style.
Mm-hmm.
In Portland, it's been a pickup game.
Yeah.
That to change it from a pickup game to a strategic play style is very difficult.
Right.
It's very difficult. You have to take the ball out of guys' hands who had the ball a lot.
Right.
That to me, like if you're keeping your good passing, good finishing, all these skills that he supposedly has, center, you got to take the ball out of his hands.
Right.
Because we've made our points clear about Nurkic. The decision-making is awful.
Awful. Shot selection, awful.
Every aspect of the game, he finds a way to fuck up.
Yeah.
Specifically in the playoffs.
Yes.
So I don't want to see him playing like a point center in the regular season anymore.
Right.
And that's why, like you said, D'Antoni is such a perfect fit. I'd rather them lose the way D'Antoni's teams play.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's you trying your hardest and just not being as good as whoever you're playing.
Right.
But playing a fucking pickup game and the other team whose offense is nowhere near as good as yours, but yet it's a 50-50 game
Right.
every time, and you're losing to Denver, who's not even second best player isn't there.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if Chauncey can make the drastic changes. I don't even know if Chauncey will spot the drastic changes they need.
Right.
Because he'll be winning games.
I'm with you. Yeah. The other thing is, now the other part of this could be is, will they make drastic roster changes for Chauncey to start from like a scratch, right? Like, is he going to keep, if Chauncey comes in with this exact same starting lineup that Portland had, I don't know how he could possibly make any changes. So do they make big roster changes and say, look, not to scare you or anything, but what they say, look, we have Beal now instead of McCollum. Look, we have we have Cousins and Tristan Thompson instead of Nurkic. Look, we have somebody random, Oladipo instead of Covington. And now what? Do something with this. Now you have a brand new puzzle. We gave you a bunch of pieces. You have a brand new puzzle. You put it together, Chauncey, and you're in how you want to do it.
But honestly, I would love that.
It's possible.
I'm okay with, like, I don't even want to speculate on what the roster changes will be. I don't mind a few bad ones, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I think if they make those roster changes, like you said, to give Chauncey like a fresh chance,
yeah,
that's them committing to Chauncey Billups.
Right.
And if they, like you said, they had 6 interviews, they made a decision. If that's it, I want you to go all in.
Right.
I don't want you to just keep Dame happy and lose the same way next year.
Right.
Because next year, nobody's going to talk about Chauncey. They're going to look at Siege, everybody on the roster.
Right.
And it's all because you made the offseason mistake that you are potentially making.
Right.
But I hope I'm wrong, man. This is one of those things where Chauncey could come in and make a couple of tweaks and make them go off. I hope that happens.
Yeah.
I don't see them going off of a couple of tweaks.
Right.
They need like full-blown surgery.
Yeah, they do. They definitely need an invasive procedure on this thing. And again, like I said, if they make those big roster changes and they have Chauncey say, hey, you got Dame and here's everything else, cool. Let's do this. Let's start over. Let's do something with this team. But I don't think that, at least not next season, that this team can possibly change with the exact same roster. There's no way.
I hope, man, like CJ gives them so many options of like roster changes that they could make.
Yeah.
I just, hell, give Ben Simmons a shot.
Yeah.
And that's I've seen situation. That. I'm skeptical of that too, but again, I'd rather you try and fail a completely different way than the way you've been failing for the last 3-4 years.
I've seen that trade proposed. The Ben Simmons proposal feed on Twitter is crazy.
Wow.
I saw one where he goes to the Warriors and Oubre and Wiggins both go to Portland, and Portland sends Nurkic and CJ to Philly. I mean, I thought that was kind of fire all around. But, the thing is, maybe Chauncey sees a different way to build around Dame, and maybe they give him a little freedom in the front office to make some decisions or make some, at least requests. Say, hey, I want a more athletic big man. And they go look for that. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. At the end of the offseason, we obviously come back as we're previewing the teams, and we'll see what Portland looks like.
Yep.
But my big thing, before I could really have a better idea of Chauncey, I got to see what the rest of the offseason looks like.
Yeah. All right, let's get into both conference finals. East or West?
Let's go with West because you got to fill me in on Game 3. The Clippers getting back in the series.
Did we talk about Game 2? No, we didn't.
Not on air. No, we went right before Game 2, I believe.
So Game 2 was the clutch moment seen around the world. Paul George misses 2 free throws. Ayton gets a amazing inbound alley-oop. And Clippers look like fools at the end of that game.
Ty Lue, after our episode, he outdumbed himself.
Yeah.
That Game 2 was one of the worst individual coaching performances I've ever seen.
I completely agree. Because they had that game.
And just looking at how they won Game 3, like it's like they're being coached by 2 different people.
It does seem like that, yeah.
I don't know what I can't even pinpoint this Ty Lue magic. Mm-hmm. But man, Game 2 was really hard to watch.
It was. Yep.
And I mean, where do you want to start with that, honestly?
I'll start with the Suns having 60 points in the paint. 60 out of their 104 points in the paint. Then I'll start with them having 17 points off of the Clippers' turnovers. And the worst part is the Suns had more turnovers.
And you know what the problem is? Like Milwaukee gets a lot of points in the paint and they lose sometimes, regardless of that. Mm-hmm. You can't, it's not even about like Ayton got layups. Okay, Ayton's a good center. You know, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Saric was out there playing like DeMarcus Cousins.
On DeMarcus Cousins.
So why the hell am I watching 48 minutes of basketball with Saric as by far the toughest player on the court?
Yeah, him and Cameron Payne.
Like, what is that?
Cameron Payne looks like Chauncey Billups out
there. Yeah, I mean, forget like Paul George doesn't know that Cameron Payne is left-handed.
Mm-hmm. Multiple possessions in a row.
28 points worth of possessions.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. So many things frustrated me. You're going big and like you said, 60 points in the paint.
Yeah.
How do you go big and are more like worse at rebounding?
Yeah. And they held them good from the rim.
Yeah, that was the only reason the game stayed close is because Phoenix wasn't hot from 3.
Yeah, 23%.
That goes back to what I told you with the Utah series. It's like the Clippers live and die by the other team's shooting.
Right.
And I've never seen such a like, yo, go ahead and beat us with these wide open shots or don't. It's up to you. Mm-hmm. And somehow teams continue to fall into the trap.
Yeah. And this game, Game 2, Phoenix didn't even have to.
Right.
They shot 8 less threes and just went right to the rack every time.
Right to the rack. I mean, campaign
layups.
You can't let these wings who aren't even that tough get layups and slashes.
Yep.
You can't let guys drive and just like make the most basic dunk down pass to Ayton for like a warm-up basket.
Yep.
I mean, Ayton has spent the first 2 games getting warm-up baskets.
Yeah.
And then they're shocked when he makes a late game hook. You know, that was really clutch, by the way. But like they're shocked as if like, damn it, dude, you let him get layups all night. What did you expect?
Right.
And normally, this is how you know I had a problem with Ty Lue, is Paul George was like awful.
Yeah.
Absolute, like one of the worst games I've ever seen from him.
Yep.
And I'm not even mad at him.
Yeah.
I've never like I didn't know Ty Lue thought of him as LeBron because I never did.
Mm-hmm.
You never did.
Right.
And nobody I know has thought of Paul George as LeBron. But Ty Lue said, PG, you got to take us home like LeBron does. Control everything, ISO on whoever, volume shooter tonight. We're not going to get you a good shot. I just need you to go get him.
Right.
I mean, we've watched Paul George for 10, 12 years now.
Yeah.
He's a rhythm player.
Right.
He's a rhythm scorer. He's not a rhythm player because he's so elite at so many things.
Yeah.
But he's a rhythm. He's always scored like a Hall of Famer when in rhythm.
Right.
You don't even make an effort to get him in rhythm.
Nope.
I mean, game 2, like at no point since Kawhi got hurt did I really feel his absence until Ty Lue decided to game plan for game 2 the way he did.
Right.
Like,
he didn't even give him a regular pick and roll.
Nah.
Nothing.
Everybody else, Durant, Tatum, Jimmy Butler, every star, Devin Booker, the ball movement stops. Where do we go? High pick and roll.
Booker usually gets 2 or 3 pick and rolls per possession.
Booker gets screens to get open and then screens with the ball to get opportunities.
Yeah.
But PG has to create for himself all night.
They just stand there and watch.
All night. And he's playing like trash. And it's like I see the game almost like the Clippers pushing all the mistakes to Paul George.
Yeah.
Like where LeBron does that bullshit of like, I'm going to pass it late in the shot clock so I don't get the turnover.
Right.
It was like the opposite. Every time the possession was trash, PG, go take a shot.
Right. And then everyone would like just run away from the ball.
Yeah, it was awful.
Sometimes PG made a move and maybe he lost the ball a little bit and pump fake. They didn't go for it. And it took like 6 seconds for anyone to even come get the ball from him. Or he had to jack, like take a crazy shot while he was being guarded.
Yes. I hate that they put him in that KD LeBron position.
Yeah.
But at least the Nets, like you commit to it. You play him through the mid-range, you get him high pick and rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George got none of that.
And even LeBron gets, like, they make sure he gets the switch.
Yeah.
They don't make LeBron take Crowder one-on-one from the 3-point line.
Yeah, Harden D'Antoni was a master at that.
Yeah, yep.
It's so basic. And Ty Lue would rather post up Paul George.
Which was bizarre in itself.
I've watched Paul George for 10 years. I've never wanted him in the post.
Never known him to be a post-up guy at all. Nope.
But in Ty Lue's mind, he's 6'8" or 9. Oh, we got to get him on the block. And not even on switches. We just got to get him on the block.
Again, that's the part that always blew my mind. He had Bridges or Crowder on him, and we have him in the post. Why? Yeah.
It's just such strange decisions in I mean, that last play. I mean, just looking at it from a basketball perspective, when there's
never let anyone get to the basket on the inbounds. That's the only rule.
When there's less than a second left, what are they looking for? The fucking lob.
Yeah.
You learned that in middle school.
Dude, you learned that playing 2K. There's nothing. And you coach, you know this.
Yes.
When someone takes the ball under the basket, do not let anyone catch it in the paint. That's the number one rule, no matter what the time is on the clock. If it was 5 minutes left on the clock, you shouldn't let anyone catch it in the paint. And
I was shocked. And you saw the clip with Stephen A. and Mike Wilbon, like, just speechless. That's how I was. I'm sitting there like, are you serious?
He did like one little juke move on Zubac, and he was wide open under the basket.
And Devin Booker set a great screen. which he's trying to win a game. Who wouldn't?
Right.
So Devin Booker sets a great screen. Batum and Zubac are like lost in the paint.
And they're both like 5 inches taller than Booker. Like, to see that coming, like, come on, just stay with the man, the big man. Stay with who would go to the paint. I'd rather Booker take a shot over me in the paint than, I mean, obviously, than Ayton.
Anything. Again, if you like, the paint thing, you're right. But that's like a bigger point. Like, obviously, they shouldn't have let it get in the paint, but a lot of teams slip up and something happens to get it in the paint. But there's no time. So they literally, the only thing that's like a detriment to you is a lob.
Exactly.
Anything else, and you lost off some fluke shit if they somehow get it off quick enough and make it.
Right.
And you gave up the one thing that was like a basketball strategic way to win.
Yeah.
You left Monty Williams one option and then forgot that option was available.
Yep. And the other crazy thing is Zubac's attempt to like get it. He didn't even get like over the rim to block it. Dude, the thing is, just the rule, just like Ayton can get it like right out the basket, Zubac can go like hang on the rim and slap it out the air if it's coming from the inbounds. There's no rules.
Yep.
There's no goaltend.
Yep.
I mean, he could have reached through the basket and got it. It's not a shot.
It's, again, it blows my mind that you let it happen so like just simply. Yeah. If Ayton gets tackled and he by some miracle taps it in or still dunks it, okay, you fucked up.
Right.
But you didn't just
no body contact or anything.
You just let Phoenix take the game.
Yep.
It's shocking that they've responded to playoff failures like that. It really is, because that makes game 3 that much more impressive.
And these dumb reviews that they kept asking for. Like, bro, Beverly, it's obvious. I mean, it was it was obvious that you touched it last and you still want that reviewed. Like, I get like the strategy of it being a timeout, but what do you, it was the other team's ball.
I don't know. They really be pressing for the extra timeouts. I don't know why.
Like, Beverly got lucky with his, but if you know it's the other team's ball, why are you giving them a timeout? Like, why are you reviewing? You go to the review, like, yeah, review so Phoenix can get more time on their own inbounds.
If they don't get that timeout, they don't get that playoff.
Exactly.
No way.
Exactly.
Monty, like I understand giving Phoenix credit, but again, the Clippers put them in one position and then just backed off and said, like, I don't know how y'all are going to win this game. Like, you gave us the opportunity.
Right.
It's so bizarre. It really is.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, that was game 2. Now game 3, I want to give credit to 2 players. Number 1, Patrick Beverly. This is the best game I've ever seen Patrick Beverly play. I've seen Patrick Beverly play defense on a lot of people, and I don't think he's that great of a defender. I think he's just really annoying. And usually, sometimes it gets in guys' heads, and he has a good nose for the ball. He gets his hands on a lot of balls. He's good at that, right? This is probably, this is the first game I ever saw Patrick Beverly like, wow, he might actually be locked down. Because he was locking Booker up the whole game. And they were taking turns strapping Booker, actually. But him and Terrence Mann on Booker throughout the game, it was masterful defense. They looked great. And they just kind of got lucky with Chris Paul because they weren't even really guarding Chris Paul, and he just shot horribly. What was he? 5 for 19, I think. Something like that. Yeah, 5 for 19, 26%. Booker was 5 for 21, 23%. And then my second congratulations, credit is Zubac. This is the best game I've ever seen Zubac play. 15 and 16. This is the first time I've ever like noticed him not let like people push him around. Like a lot of times Zubac would like play D for a little bit. Once his guy passed the ball, they could just like elbow Zubac just a tiny bit, and he's like completely out of the play.
Yep.
He wasn't letting that happen this game at all. He was up on screens. He was hedging nicely. He was going for every block. He was going like hard to the basket every time he caught the ball in the paint. I think most of his points most of his points were from the line. He went to the line 5 times. He was only 3 for 8, but he just played really strong today. I mean, that game, in my opinion, I think he did. It was really good. Reggie Jackson still MVP for the Clippers. And Paul George looked a lot more in control in this game. And they actually did set a lot of screens for him this game. He was attacking mismatches every time.
Wow.
And if he got doubled, he kicked it out, and they made plays.
It's like Ty Lue sucks on purpose to make himself look smarter when he finally does the simple thing that he was supposed to.
I agree. I honestly agree with that. I think that's very possible.
It's like they're dragging series out to make sure Kawhi gets back.
Possibly, yeah. Sarge again was rebounding great, but if I'm gonna be frank, Clippers won this because CP and Booker shot like garbage, and Booker got a few open shots and just missed them. But I think Terrence Mann and Beverly played just really, really good defense. I don't know if there's a highlight of just them playing defense, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the focus for Phoenix going in next time. Like, we can't let Beverly and Mann be on Booker anymore.
Again, Beverly, I've also kind of lost respect for him over the course of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing by far has been the foul trouble.
Right.
Like a lot of times he screws himself over because he'll hack and get in foul trouble, and he has to come out before I can even notice how he's getting stops.
Right.
But, I knew that he could get stops. I've seen him contain guys for games during the regular season.
Yeah.
So with Zubac, I'm just happy they're making Ayton work a little bit more.
Yeah.
If he could continue to just, again, I don't need 15 and 16 every time, but I would like 8 to 10 rebounds.
Right.
Regardless, I can live with you missing layups if you're active on the glass.
Yep.
Which, he will miss layups. I'm sure he missed the number even that game.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But again, you make an Ayton work, the trend is in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, where series in the past, game 4 has been the key turnaround as far as, did the Clippers just kind of get a must win, or are they really turning the series around?
Right.
I don't want to take away credit, but Devin Booker's coming off the nose that was ballooned.
Mm-hmm.
It might have something to do with his poor shooting.
Right.
And he was due for one. He a bad shooting night because he was lights out for their last round and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
CP's coming off of COVID, so I'm not surprised that he played like trash. He played like trash most of the Lakers series.
Yep.
Coming off the shoulder, but game 4 now is going to be key.
This is for sure. It's going to be key. Yep.
Because now Phoenix is going to adjust to some of the struggles they had.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to play through Crowder and Bridges and Ayton, especially early on.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to take away either Booker or CP in game 4.
Yeah.
Not surprised if one of them gets off, but you can't let both eat.
Right.
And again, the last 2 rounds, they've done the job. They've contained the things they've needed to contain. but Phoenix is a little bit more disciplined than the other teams.
Right.
So game 4 is going to be huge.
Another thing that was really big was Cameron Payne got hurt. So that really ruins the Phoenix's depth. And that's one thing I noticed big about the last 2 games. If you eliminate Phoenix's depth, they struggle big time because they got Crowder in really bad foul trouble in game 3. And then Campaign got hurt. And then Phoenix was left to have Sarge and Torrey Craig out there for like extended amount of time. And, Torrey Craig isn't garbage, but it just...
You don't want him out there for an extended amount of time.
Right. And it changed how they like use their roles, right? Because now at one point they had like Bridges, Cam Johnson, and Torrey Craig out there all at the same time. And they all kind of do the same thing to an extent,
Yeah.
So that's one thing that Phoenix will probably have to adjust to or be ready for, that if they attack a Crowder or a Bridges or Booker early and get them in foul trouble, they have to be ready to adapt to that and bounce back, because they did a really poor job of that this last game. And I'm not sure if Payne is coming back. His ankle looked really bad.
That was kind of a big problem for Phoenix during the year, is when they had to get deep into the roster, they looked stale. Like the offense, just the rhythm they play with just kind of abruptly came to a halt. And if Payne is gone, man, I do think it gives the Clippers a great chance to take control.
Yeah.
Even with CP there. But if Campaign was the make it or break it guy for Phoenix, then they weren't as good as we thought. So
I agree.
So we'll really get a chance to see how this will be the first. I mean, if they faced adversity in the first round, but the Lakers are falling apart while they were facing that adversity.
Right.
Clippers are getting more and more comfortable.
Yep.
So it's going to be a huge game 4, man.
Yep, it is. It is. All right, Atlanta, Milwaukee. Atlanta takes game 1 nicely. Close game. Milwaukee has a hard time in close games. We know why. We don't need to talk about
game 2 because it was quick.
Right.
It was a big time game by Milwaukee. We saw it against Miami. When they shoot lights out, they're almost unbeatable. Yep. But you could say that for everybody, so it doesn't really impress me. But good win, nonetheless.
Yep. Trey, 48, 7, and 11 first game. That's Hall of Fame numbers. They couldn't stop John Collins at all in the first game.
They couldn't stop Capella.
Couldn't get Capella off the glass at all. Brook Lopez having 2 rebounds is just not going to work in this series. Like you said, unless they're shooting like lights out, Brook Lopez, 2 rebounds, 1 rebound. That sucks, frankly. That's why Capella can get 20 rebounds.
This is another situation where similar to I didn't have any. My problem was with Ty Lue, not Paul George. Maybe the free throws, I should have had more of an issue with Paul George. But you're not putting him in an advantageous position, and then it's his fault that he's sucking.
Right.
No, most bigs, you know me. I'm like, yo, you can't get a fucking rebound. What's wrong with you? Right. First, how can Brook Lopez get an offensive rebound the way he plays for this team?
Can't.
He's camping out on the 3-point line. He's often several steps behind the line. Right. How can he get an offensive rebound? I don't even know.
And the thing is, as a coach, you should say, hey, you guys need to be aware of who's about to take a shot, because if Greek Freak is taking a 3, Brook Lopez should not be outside of the 3-point line.
Yes.
Brook Lopez should be in the paint every time Giannis shoots a 3. Every time. Because the chances he's going to miss the three. So we have to have someone prepared to get to the ball.
Again, I don't understand. They use Brook Lopez as a 3-point specialist and nothing else.
Yeah.
And then again, like I can't even be mad at him for not rebounding because he's just on the 3-point line all night.
Right.
And he can't get that many rebounds on the other end because he's getting put in the pick and rolls relentlessly.
Yep.
So he's busting his ass to get cooked all night. And you don't even have the decency to take him out when he doesn't fit on the court.
Right.
Budenholzer's reluctance to like flex the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, Vogel did it every round last year.
Yeah, he did.
And they were dominating.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand why Budenholzer thinks like specifically the way they play is good enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, the same team who scored 70 paint points and lost not that long ago.
Yeah.
I can't even remember which round that it had to be Brooklyn, but I don't remember which game it was. I think it was game 1.
I think it was, yeah.
But they play a certain way, and I just don't understand why they don't adapt.
Yep.
That's my biggest problem because they've shown that they're good enough to beat anybody.
He acts like it's just, this was the other team's night tonight. Like, no big deal. They just shot really well and we didn't.
I mean, dude, Jeff T comes in the game and he goes under on Trae Young pick and rolls.
Yep.
And you let him do that in repeat, like back to back?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you even coaching? Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Bobby Portis coming in eating, and it's like whoa, great adjustment. He should have been in the games.
The Brooklyn series might have ended earlier if he was in the games.
Bobby Portis comes in, and he's immediately getting putbacks, is immediately getting layups, is immediately getting rebounds.
And getting open jumpers and knocking a couple of them down.
But Brook Lopez, we need you because you could jack them from further out the 3-point line.
And do nothing else on the court for us.
Do nothing and get cooked on the other end.
Right.
I mean,
Bobby Portis had more rebounds in half the time.
Like Milwaukee came into this series like they're way fucking better.
Yeah, they did.
And that's not that's why I was so confident in Atlanta. Their offense is like top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Top tier. And you don't look prepared at all.
And their offense just got better because, Reddish is back healthy.
Right.
He was getting buckets in the fourth quarter. I mean, at garbage time, but still.
Yeah, and he'll get a chance to contribute.
Yeah.
I mean, again, late in the game, the Pat Connaughton is the guy you want shooting.
Yeah.
Do I need to list the roster? I mean, I'd rather have PJ Tucker taking that shot.
Right. And for some reason, they cannot figure out how to get him to hit that corner three in Milwaukee at all.
They can't. But again, it's a lot of it is on Budenholzer.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I can't figure out Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
Like, dude, are you nice or are you just like when they don't guard you right, you could go off?
Mm-hmm.
Because every time you defended like even remotely well, you look bad.
Yep.
So Milwaukee is very similar to the Clippers where they have figured out a lot of their problems along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they like game 2 is a perfect example. You come out, you're on fire to start with.
Yep. And Atlanta is way off.
Right. And you capitalized just like you did. You took Miami's soul doing that.
Yep.
So again, I like that. I like that you come out in game 2 with a sense of urgency, not like the Clippers. They go down 2 games instead of 1
mm-hmm.
to have urgency. But you're not working, you're not fixing any of the real flaws, any of the play style flaws. The shot selection's still awful. We still don't know who you're playing through. It's like every time anything goes wrong, like the rest of the team isn't prepared for anything.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I kind of want them. I don't really want them to beat Atlanta because like it'll be considered a success for them to make the finals.
Yeah.
And I want this team to have like that Portland level of realization that like drastic things need to happen for the changes that need to be made.
But the fact that they can win without playing perfect is just, that's their thing.
I don't know, man. I don't like the way they defended Trae Young at all. I don't like how they don't respect some of the Atlanta players. I just like Gallinari. You're surprised that he could get buckets. He wouldn't be in the league if he couldn't do that.
Right. Especially
he's not in the league. He's not in the league to rebound. I can tell you that.
Right. Or play D.
Right. I mean, I don't know, man. This is a fun series. I'm excited to see where it goes. But Milwaukee has not. They haven't shown me any growth off that Brooklyn series, unfortunately.
Right. They hit a perfect storm last night. You know, biggest lead was 41. They still had 15 turnovers to Atlanta's 19. It's not like they, you know, overall played that much better. Atlanta just shot horribly. 25% from three. I mean, that's just not who Atlanta is. You know, again, points in the paint, 62-30. Obviously, the score was disgusting, so that's that. But it's not like Atlanta was like outmatched. They just played bad, you know.
Yeah,
it's not like Milwaukee came out there and looked like the more dominant team. Like they're just the overall better team, because we saw the last game they're not. So I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta came back and blew them out. Like it seems like just one of those kind of series.
Especially that the series shifts.
Yeah.
Because Middleton has been mostly bad on the road everywhere.
Yep.
That game one was surprising because he's been good in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So I just don't know where it goes, to be honest. Middleton is the main guy I'm looking at as far as like if Milwaukee's going to pull this series out.
Yeah, because Greek Freak cannot be who he is without Middleton. Like Greek Freak can't succeed in the way that he does in that style without Middleton spreading the floor, hitting jumpers, being versatile, being long, you know, and being able to play defense on guys that Greek Freak is not quite agile enough to play, you know?
Yeah, and when Middleton's bad, like just Giannis's overall impact is so much less.
Yeah.
Even because you see some of the stats in game one, I'm pretty sure were good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I felt John Collins 23 and 15 or whatever it was more than Giannis is like 30.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yep. I don't have anything else to add. I will be, you know, staying updated on the Ben Simmons dilemma, on coaching hires. Real quick, I hope Becky Hammon doesn't get the Magic job, because I don't want her to start her career off like that, like Magic, you know.
I don't want anybody to get the Magic coaching job.
Oh, the Wizards haven't hired anyone yet, right?
No, they haven't. Scott Brooks could go to Orlando.
Yeah, he could.
Go ahead, turn him up, Scotty. Unleash Markelle Fultz.
Bro, we have to talk about him, his bench guards glowing up after they leave him.
That's a story for another day. I don't want to get it.
Campaign, James Harden. Reggie Jackson.
Oh my god.
Greatness. As soon as they leave his
If Ish Smith was great with him, but if he's even better without him, oh my god.
Yeah.
I could see it too.
Watch Daniel Gafford be like an all-star. Man.
I'm happy the Wizards are taking, a lot of time.
I hope Becky gets that one. I would like that.
Yeah.
I like someone fresh for Westbrook.
I'm not even gonna ask for a lot. I hope whoever comes in can encourage this team to play some fucking defense.
Yeah.
If they really want to win, if they got guys on the roster who claim they want to win above anything else, gotta defend.
Yep. Oh, real quick, the Olympic roster. Let's just run through that real quick. So we got Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bam Adebayo, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton, and Jason Tatum.
On first glance, it's hard to have a problem with this list.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. Yeah.
I like the balance of like stars and guys who are up and coming.
Yep.
And you throw in like a Drew Holiday who is gonna fit because he's just gonna be one of the few role players. Like I mean, honestly, this roster, everything about it is like built for a good team.
Yeah.
Kevin Love, you got like the veteran leadership who probably won't touch the court, but he'll give you some spot up shooting. He'll give you spot up shooting. He'll give you rebounding.
Just like he did last time he went.
He's an IQ guy.
Yeah.
He's an IQ guy. And every USA team there's going to be a point when they try to dominate with athleticism.
You think Drew Holiday is going to touch the court?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Unless Damian Lillard comes in, on Mamba mentality shit where he's just not missing and going crazy.
Yeah.
Then I think they're gonna need Holiday.
I think the fact that they have so many guards, I think they're just using someone else, like use Beal or Booker or Levine at the point, which I don't like, but I wouldn't be surprised. They've done it before in I've seen D Wade run point in the Olympics.
Yeah,
something like that.
Middleton isn't gonna touch the floor much.
Middleton and Durant on the court at the same time.
At least if I'm coaching of these guys, Middleton's my last go-to guy.
That's fair.
I'm putting Grant and Levine in there before I'm putting Middleton in there. I mean, the athleticism with that duo, Jesus.
Who's the starters? Dame, KD.
I'm going Dame, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, KD, and Bam.
No, Bam's not starting over Draymond. No way.
Okay, that's fine. Draymond instead of Bam, I'm not mad at.
You said Dame, Booker, KD. Who was the
Beal?
Okay, all right. A lot of scoring. Okay. I think Tatum. I think Tatum may start over Booker.
I want to see. I'm happy to see these guys, man, because a lot of these guys have been slipping defensively.
And there's not going to be any defense on this team in the.
Then they're going to catch a fucking L. Watch. Durant will find a way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Draymond will find a way to do something crazy. Some crazy turnover.
Oh my god, I'm thinking back to that play-in game where he's just turning it over and they're just so bad.
Draymond's gonna throw to Rudy Fernandez.
Oh,
he's gotta get a breakaway reverse. I hope Rudy plays, by the way. Good team. We got a good squad. I'm confident in that team. Confident in it. Let's see, what else do we have? We said we're going to talk about something else in the league. We can save it. Whatever it is, we can save it. we'll probably have to do music like separately eventually, because new music keeps coming out, man.
That's
This
true.
weekend was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, what time is the game today?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be a good one. This is, I mean, Clippers. Obviously, we talked about it, is big for the Clippers. Do you think at this point, do you think the Clippers blow it up if they lose? When I say blow it up, I mean separate Paul George and Kawhi, or do you think it's pretty much locked that they're staying together now?
I think it is locked.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at moving on from Kawhi, I hope this team keeps going just so that is more of a prominent idea.
Mm-hmm. So people
more,
see what's going on right now
yes,
compared to when Kawhi gets back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the more I watch him, even like the game 2 and the game 1, they looked really bad, letting Booker do whatever he wanted. But I think with like slight roster upgrades,
yeah,
which they should, if they get rid of Kawhi, they should be in position to make
easy ones. Yeah.
And like so many options could fit this team. So many players, so many guys could come in and just like elevate their play style. Like Lowry would be flawless here.
If PG had like one other solid, like elite scorer with him, this team would be really tough. Like
anybody, man, any of the guys that'll be available.
Yeah, if they had a Beal or a CJ for Kawhi, they'd be good.
It's actually one of the few teams I wouldn't want Simmons on though.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't want Ben there. No.
But other than that, I mean, CJ McCollum, yes, please.
Fire.
Anybody. Guys I have problems with. Middleton, yeah, obviously Middleton isn't available, but Middleton would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't even know how they downgrade.
And that's one of the beauties about Paul George in the first place. I think we've said it on here multiple times. He's one of those guys that you look at him, I don't know what team you can't insert Paul George and immediately say, look, we got a better team than last year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about switching him for somebody, but any team presently constructed, you throw Paul George on there, he can fit in some way because he does so much for the team. But Clippers are asking him to do a lot more than they ever have. So it's different,
Yeah, I'm scared that the more they win, like if they go to the finals, they're just gonna run it back. And I like Kemba. Kemba is a premier option available.
Oh yeah,
he would be perfect.
He would be.
So I just hope they're active, regardless of how the rest of their season plays out. I want them to try to improve.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Let's get out of here. And we'll be back hopefully to get to music sometime this week. But keep watching these games, man. These are great games.
Top tier playoffs this year.
It is.
I mean, to come back last year was kind of, random and inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Prior years, Golden State was kind of dominating the league.
Yep.
Man, I love seeing anybody having a chance at it.
Do you think that the East has caught up to the West at this point?
Yes.
Okay. I think
more so about how the West slipped up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the Western middle of the middle playoff teams, they're not as dominant in the regular season as they used to be.
Right.
That's what made the West look so much better. It's just more collective wins.
Yeah.
And since the East evened it out, the records are more even. The seedings are a lot tougher now to fight for.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yep. I think losing Harden out of the West, Harden and Westbrook out of the West, made a huge impact to the East. Because now you have two teams that mean absolutely nothing in the West anymore. That's the Thunder and the Rockets. I know Westbrook was on the Rockets, but he left the Thunder first, and those two teams went from being top 5 seeds to nothing.
Yeah, I wonder which one of them will make the playoffs first.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's interesting. I don't really want to debate it because it's not much to get excited for either team,
and it's tough because we know they're making change. We know Kemba's getting traded. We know John Wall is getting traded. So we don't really know what
some of the building blocks are already there. So just work with that and keep going.
Right. Yeah. John Wall is another good point guard, by the way. Boston, Clippers. Boston, the Clippers.
Yeah. And I want to see him go somewhere where we could really manage his minutes. Because clearly 35 minutes is not in his knees or in his legs anymore.
Right. At least, off that first comeback.
Right.
Maybe now he had almost half the year where they were kind of benching him, and he has this whole summer. Maybe he does come back with something else, next year. Maybe he loses a few more pounds. He still looked kind of stocky when he came back this year. So
a little bit. He was moving great, to his credit. But my big thing for guys is just to get healthy in general. I mean, next year, so many teams will kind of get back into the rhythm of things that they've been missing.
Yep.
Like Miami, LA are getting a nice off season.
Yep.
So
Boston,
it's going to be a crazy year next year too.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually really like the idea of Wall on Boston, but I'm not going to get into it right now. But they got a lot of options. That's all. All right. As always, thank you for listening. Subscribe, follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. For those who have been listening to us on Spotify and Apple all this time, yes, we do have YouTube. We have video. This is on video. A lot of my friends have been hitting me up, like, yo, man, you have video? I'm like, yeah, we've had video.
A little late to the game.
Yeah.
But we got there.
Yep. And thanks for listening. Tune in next time. Make sure you put notifications on so you know when we drop, because we're not being consistent because of the playoffs. The playoffs aren't consistent. So, yeah. And we'll see you guys next time.